Sorry, this table's full for good kids only, my sister said, holding her arm out to stop my son. Her kids laughed. Mine just looked crushed. I helped him with his jacket and we left without a word. That night I canceled every luxury booking for the family trip. 2 days later she texted, "What's the check-in time?" I replied, "Sorry, this table's full. For good kids only." That's what my sister said as she held her arm out to block my son from sitting down. Her girls burst out laughing like it was some kind of inside joke. Evan just stood there looking confused, his little hand still holding the edge of the chair he was about to pull out. He was excited for this lunch. We hadn't seen the whole family in weeks, and he'd even asked me twice that morning if his cousins would want to play with him. I told him of course they would. I always say that. I always lie. Courtney saw me watching. She didn't say a word. She just turned and sat down like nothing happened. I walked over, helped Evan put his jacket back on, and we walked out. No goodbyes. No drama. Just quiet. This wasn't the first time she'd done something like that. I've swallowed it before for the sake of family peace. At every birthday, every holiday, every group event, there's always been some little dig. Some way to make Evan feel like he doesn't belong. Like he's a burden or too sensitive or just not one of them. But this time something in me cracked. That night, after I put Evan to bed, I opened my laptop and pulled up the luxury family vacation I had spent months planning. A week in the Florida Keys. Private suites. Poolside cabanas. A dolphin swim experience for the kids. I'd paid for everything. Every last detail had been booked on my card. I went into the reservation portal. Found the suite with Courtney's name on it. Cancelled it. Found the dolphin swim activity with her twins' names on it. Cancelled that too. Changed the dinner reservation from 8 to 2. Just Evan and me. 2 days passed. Then right on schedule she texted me like nothing had happened. "What's the check-in time again? The girls are so excited." I didn't hesitate. "I don't know about you, but my son and I will be going on vacation. You and your kids can do whatever you want. I canceled your reservation." That's all I said. And just like that it started. The text came back instantly. "What the hell are you talking about?" Then another. "You're joking, right? Please tell me you're not this petty." And then the phone rang. I watched it buzz across the table. Courtney. Then again. And again. I didn't pick up. I knew what she'd do, act confused, pretend it was a joke, say I was overreacting. Then when that didn't work it would turn into yelling. Accusations. She'd find a way to make it about her. So I ignored it. That night she started calling our parents. I woke up to a group text from my mom. "Courtney says there's a misunderstanding about the vacation. Can we all talk before anyone cancels anything?" I didn't reply. There was no misunderstanding. She humiliated my son. In front of everyone. And no one stopped her. Then my dad called. He never usually calls first, he's more of a text and wait kind of person. So I answered. He got straight to it. Said he talked to Courtney. That she told him I was blowing things out of proportion, that Evan misinterpreted a joke, and that she was devastated I would exclude her girls from something as special as this trip. I didn't yell. I didn't get emotional. I just told him what happened. Word for word. He was quiet for a while. Then he said, "She said that to his face?" "Yeah." "And no one said anything?" "Nope. You were right to cancel it." I almost didn't believe him. My dad's always been the one trying to keep the peace, to keep the family together no matter what. But this time he didn't try to soften it. I heard my mom's voice in the background asking what I said. He repeated it. "She canceled it. Courtney's not coming." Then he added loud enough for her to hear. "Frankly, I wouldn't go either if someone treated my kid like that." Later that day I got another message from Courtney. "Well, so now you're trying to turn mom and dad against me? Real classy, Mel. You're punishing my girls for your weird little grudge. Hope Evan enjoys his lonely vacation." That was it. That was the moment I realized she didn't regret what she said. Not to Evan. Not to me. She was just furious that someone finally did something about it. I sent one final reply. "This isn't punishment. It's boundaries. Evan deserves better than how you treat him. This was your last chance." She didn't reply. The next day my mom called and asked if she could talk to Evan. She apologized to him without prompting. She told him he didn't do anything wrong. That he's a good kid and she loves him. I could hear the guilt in her voice. For not saying anything. For letting it slide too many times. Evan didn't say much back, but he smiled. That was enough. We left for the trip 4 days later. Just the two of us. But that's not where it ends. We flew out early on a Thursday morning. Evan had his little shark neck pillow and a backpack full of books and snacks. He kept asking if the dolphins were really going to swim with him, or if it was just something people say. I told him yes. Real dolphins. Real ocean. Real fun. And no one would tell him he didn't belong. The resort was even better than I remembered from the photos. Ocean view, white sand, palm trees, and not a single trace of Courtney or her smug commentary. The room had 2 beds, a balcony, and a welcome note with Evan's name on it because I'd told the staff in advance it was his first big trip. He couldn't stop smiling. The first day we swam until sunset. The second day he fed turtles and rowed a glass-bottom boat. But the third day was the one he'd been waiting for, Dolphin Day. There was a family in our group. 2 parents, a teenage girl and a little boy about Evan's age. The girl offered to take our picture by the pool, and Evan ended up talking to her little brother about Minecraft. Just like that, he made a friend. They stuck together the rest of the afternoon. No judgment. No sarcasm. Just 2 kids playing in the sun. Later that night, after Evan fell asleep watching a movie, I checked my phone for the first time all day. I had 15 missed messages. Courtney had lost it. She'd posted on Facebook a rant about certain people in the family ruining a trip for innocent children. She didn't name me, but she didn't have to. The comments were all her friends backing her up, writing things like, "You're too kind, people take advantage," and "Jealousy brings out the worst in people." Then I noticed something strange. A few of the comments were from relatives, but they weren't agreeing with her. One cousin had replied, "You should really tell the whole story." Another aunt said, "Funny, that's not what your dad said when I talked to him." Then, buried under it all, was a comment from her own stepkid's account. "You were mean to Evan. We all saw it. You do this all the time. That's why we're not going on the trip. You made it weird, not her." I sat there just staring at that comment. He had always controlled the narrative, twisted things to make herself the victim. But something shifted. People weren't falling for it anymore. I got a message from my cousin Sarah the next morning. She said she'd seen the post, heard what really happened from my dad, and wanted to say that what I did took guts. That most people wouldn't have. She said something I hadn't expected. "You showed your son that someone will stand up for him. That matters more than any vacation." I didn't cry, but it hit me. And for once I felt like I hadn't just protected Evan. I had changed something. But Courtney wasn't done. Not yet. By the time we flew home, Courtney had gone full scorched earth. She deleted the original Facebook post, but not before screenshots started circulating in the family group chats. One of my uncles even texted me the entire thread with a simple caption, "Wow. Just wow." But deleting the post didn't fix anything. In fact, it made it worse. Because now people were asking questions. And the more they asked, the more it unraveled. Turns out, Evan wasn't the only one she'd mistreated over the years. My cousin Tessa messaged me privately to say Courtney had once told her daughter, who struggles with reading, that she should stop pretending to be dumb at a Christmas party. Another family friend said Courtney used to whisper things behind her back when her son gained weight during middle school. Everyone had stories. People just didn't talk about them until now. The narrative was shifting and Courtney couldn't stand it. So she did what she always does when cornered, she attacked. She sent me a voice note the next morning, 3 minutes of pure rage. Accused me of manipulating our parents, turning the family against her, and weaponizing Evan's sensitivity to gain sympathy. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Because that night my parents invited both of us to dinner. They never do that without a reason. We met at their place. Evan stayed home with my neighbor because I already had a feeling it wasn't going to be friendly. Courtney was already there when I arrived. Sitting at the table with her arms crossed, acting like she was being put on trial. My mom brought out coffee. My dad didn't bother with small talk. He started. He asked her plainly what she meant when she told Evan the table was for good kids only. Asked if she thought it was appropriate. Asked if she realized how many times she'd singled him out. Courtney rolled her eyes and said Evan just reads too much into things. My mom cut her off. She said she watched the whole thing happen. And didn't say anything in the moment because she was shocked. She said she hadn't slept well since. That she kept seeing the look on Evan's face when he froze at the table. And then my dad told her this wasn't a debate. He said that from now on, Any family gathering would have rules. No insults, no sarcasm masked as jokes, and if she couldn't manage that, she didn't need to come. I think Courtney expected them to take her side. She always had before. But something was different now. They weren't just disappointed. They were embarrassed. She stood up and said she didn't need this. That she was being ganged up on. That the whole family was going insane trying to protect one overly emotional kid. And then she left. No one followed her. Later that night, my mom texted me, "We're proud of you. Evan has nothing to be ashamed of. Thank you for standing up when we didn't." It wasn't revenge anymore. It was correction. Realignment. Courtney wasn't just left out of the vacation. She was left without a shield. The week after that dinner at my parents' house felt like a quiet unraveling. Courtney had left in a storm of eye rolls and deflection, but the damage she always swept under the rug wasn't disappearing this time. People weren't looking away anymore. That night, the conversation finally happened, and now there was no taking it back. She stopped messaging me entirely, which was honestly a relief. No fake apologies, no veiled threats. Just silence. And in that silence, things started shifting. At first it was small. A cousin who'd always kept her distance suddenly started sending Evan silly science memes. My aunt, who usually played neutral, texted to say she'd removed Courtney from the 4th of July planning chat. She didn't even try to make it diplomatic. She just said, "We don't need that energy." Then came the lake house invite. Every year my dad's side of the family spends a weekend up at my Aunt Margaret's place. Canoes, grilled corn, the same old playlist blasting from a rusty Bluetooth speaker. In the past it was a full house, but Courtney always somehow ran the show. She'd plan the menu, assign sleeping arrangements, and make sure her kids got the best rooms. Evan and I usually ended up in the attic loft, right under the squeaky ceiling fan. This time the invite came directly to me. No group thread, no Courtney. Just, "Would love to have you and Evan up here this year. Bring whatever snacks he likes. Already made sure the loft is off limits. You two get the downstairs bedroom." That one hit me more than I expected. People weren't just sympathizing, they were adjusting. Making space for us. Choosing us. Courtney didn't take it well. She started posting vague story after story on social media. Pictures of her daughters at a cheap-looking beach motel, holding melting popsicles, captioned with things like, "We may not have luxury, but we have love." And my personal favorite, "Some people will buy silence. Others live with truth." Hashtag just saying. The irony was loud, but I stayed quiet. I didn't need to say a word. Others did it for me. Tessa commented under one of the stories, "Love is also making sure your nephew doesn't get bullied at a family dinner, but okay." Courtney deleted the comment in under 10 minutes. Then turned her profile to private. A few days later, her stepkid's biological mom, who's usually drama-free, posted a screenshot of Courtney's latest pity post, writing, "To clarify, my boys weren't with her that weekend. They chose not to go. Wonder why." It exploded. I didn't share it. I didn't have to. It was like something that had been simmering for years finally boiled over, and all I had to do was stay still and let it burn itself out. Meanwhile, Evan was just happy. He was drawing again, asking me to print out pictures of dolphins so he could hang them on his wall. He told me he wants to be a marine biologist now. The kind of goal a kid makes when he feels safe dreaming out loud. And that was the moment I knew I'd done the right thing. Not just by canceling the trip, not just by walking out that day, but by showing him he wasn't invisible. That someone would choose him over and over no matter who it upset. My dad called again later that week. He asked if Evan wanted to go fishing with him, just the two of them. No distractions. No siblings. No cousins. I said yes, and they spent the afternoon at the lake. When they came back, Evan was holding a little tackle box with his name written on it in permanent marker. He told me, "Grandpa said next time we're gonna try night fishing. He says you can see stars in the water." That night, I sat on the back steps with a cup of tea, looking out at nothing, just breathing. I realized something I hadn't let myself admit until then. This wasn't about winning, or revenge, or even teaching Courtney a lesson. This was about clearing the space she used to take up, and giving it to Evan instead. But even though the tides were turning, there was one more thing I needed to do. Not to prove anything to her. Not to the family. For me. It had been 3 weeks since the trip. No new messages from Courtney. No calls. Nothing. She'd gone quiet, but I knew it wasn't surrender. It was the kind of silence that builds when someone's waiting for the dust to settle so they can rewrite the story in their favor. I wasn't interested in playing defense anymore, so I made a decision. My parents were hosting a small family dinner to keep things normal, as my mom put it. Courtney wasn't invited, not officially anyway, but I knew she'd find out about it. And I knew she'd show up. I didn't try to stop it. In fact, I hoped she would. The night of the dinner, everything was calm. Just 8 of us. Evan was in the kitchen helping my mom slice cucumbers. My dad was telling one of his recycled college stories. And then, right in the middle of it, the front door opened without a knock. There she was, Courtney, standing in the doorway like nothing had happened. She didn't greet anyone. She didn't even look around. She just walked into the dining room and dropped her purse on the counter. Mom said her name, surprised, and Courtney just smiled and said she was tired of the drama and ready to move forward. No apology. No acknowledgement. Just an announcement like her presence alone was enough to reset everything. That's when I stood up. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't make a scene. I just looked at her and said clearly, "You're not welcome here tonight." She blinked like she didn't quite hear me. I repeated it. "You're not welcome. This isn't your reset button. You don't get to treat my son like trash and then stroll in like nothing happened." Silence. The whole room froze. She turned to our mom like she expected backup. But Mom didn't move. She just looked down at the table. Courtney turned to Dad. He didn't say a word. Just gave her the same tired, quiet stare he used to give us when we fought as kids. Only this time it wasn't between equals. It was disappointment. She scoffed and grabbed her purse. As she walked out, she muttered something under her breath. Probably an insult, maybe another claim of being the victim. I didn't catch it. I didn't need to. That door closed slower than it opened. The second it latched, my dad cleared his throat and asked Evan if he wanted to help serve the lemonade. Like nothing had happened. Like Courtney was already in the rear view. And in that moment she was. Later that night, after we got home and Evan was asleep, I sat down and drafted an email. I didn't send it right away. I sat on it for a full day. But I knew it was time. It was to the extended family. Aunts, uncles, cousins, even the ones I barely talked to. I wrote, "I won't be attending events where Courtney is present moving forward. Not because of drama. Not because of some petty feud. But because Evan deserves better than to be treated like he's less. You can invite who you want, but I'll make my decisions based on what's best for him. I won't explain it every time and I won't argue about it. This is a boundary, not a debate." Then I hit send. I didn't expect much. But the replies started rolling in within an hour. "Good for you. About time someone said it. We'll plan the next one around you and Evan." And my favorite from my cousin Matt. "Honestly, the family just got easier to be around without her." So that was it. Not some dramatic final battle. No explosive confrontation. Just clarity. Boundaries. A closed door that stayed shut. Evan's world got quieter. Kinder. And for the first time in years mine did too. We never got that big family trip. But we got something better. Peace.